Hello, and welcome back to the English Master Podcast, your cozy corner for learning real English through conversations that actually matter. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Asadullah. And today, we're talking about something that I think everyone has felt at some point, including me, especially me.
Really? What is it?
Why we get stuck, why we know what we should do, eat better, exercise, practice English, start that project, but we just don't. We stay exactly where we are, even when we desperately want to move forward.
Oh, that is so real. And I think that's why this episode is going to hit home for so many listeners. Because everyone has something they're stuck on.
Exactly. And the frustrating part is, it's not about intelligence. It's not about talent. It's not even about knowing what to do. It's about something much deeper.
So what is it? What actually keeps people stuck?
That's exactly what we're going to unpack today. But before we do, I want to tell you a story.
Please, do.
A few years ago, I was completely stuck. I had a good job, a good routine, but every single day felt the same. Wake up, work, come home, watch something, sleep, repeat. I felt like I was in a glass box. I could see the world moving around me, but I couldn't get out.
That sounds suffocating.
It was, and the worst part, I knew what I needed to do. I needed to learn new skills, network more, take care of my health. I had all the advice. I watched all the videos. I even bought a notebook, a very expensive one, and wrote down all my goals.
The notebook. I think every stuck person has at least one of those.
Right? And that notebook sat on my shelf for 2 years, unopened, because writing goals is easy. Actually doing them? That's where the resistance shows up.
Resistance. That's such a powerful word. Can you explain that?
Resistance is that invisible force that appears whenever we try to do something meaningful. It's the voice that says, maybe tomorrow, or I'll start when I feel ready, or my personal favorite, I'll do it when life gets less busy.
Which is never.
Never. Life never gets less busy. That's the trick. We're waiting for a perfect moment that doesn't exist. And while we're waiting, we stay stuck.
So, why do we do that? Why do we resist things that are actually good for us?
Because every meaningful change requires us to leave something familiar behind. Even if what we're leaving behind isn't making us happy, it's known, and the unknown feels risky.
So it's fear.
Yes, but not always dramatic fear. Like fear of danger. Often it's quieter. Fear of failure. Fear of looking foolish. Fear of making mistakes. Fear of being judged. And sometimes the scariest one, fear that even if we succeed, we'll still feel empty.
Wow. That's deep.
It is, and that's why so many people stay stuck. Not because they're lazy, not because they're weak, but because change is uncomfortable, and our brains are wired to avoid discomfort.
But here's the thing. Asadullah, everyone who has ever changed their life went through that discomfort. Every confident speaker was once nervous. Every successful entrepreneur failed multiple times. They didn't skip the uncomfortable parts.
Exactly. And that's the big misunderstanding. People think successful people are fearless. They're not. They just feel the fear and do it anyway.
That's so important. Because if you wait until fear disappears, you'll wait forever.
Forever. And that's the first reason people stay stuck. They're waiting for fear to go away before they start.
Okay, so what's the second reason?
The second reason, and this is a big one, is identity. How you see yourself.
Identity? Like, who I think I am?
Yes, if you believe I'm not a disciplined person, guess what? You won't be disciplined. If you believe I'm bad at languages, you'll struggle to learn English because your mind is always looking for evidence to prove you right.
So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly. You tell yourself a story long enough, and it becomes your reality. And that's why people stay stuck. Not because they can't change, but because they don't believe they are the kind of person who changes.
So how do you change your identity?
You start with tiny actions that prove the new story is true. For example, instead of saying, I'm bad at English, you say, I'm someone who practices English for 10 minutes every day, and then you do it, even when you don't feel like it.
So the action creates the identity, not the other way around.
Yes, action creates identity. Identity creates more action. It's a beautiful cycle, but you have to start with action, even a tiny one.
Okay, what about perfectionism? I feel like that keeps a lot of people stuck.
Ah, perfectionism, the enemy of progress. Perfectionism tells you, if you can't do it perfectly, don't do it at all. That is a lie.
It is.
Done is better than perfect. A messy draft is better than no draft. A 10-minute workout is better than skipping the gym entirely. Perfectionism is just fear wearing a fancy outfit.
I love that. Fear wearing a fancy outfit.
It's true. Because when you look closely, perfectionism is really about avoiding judgment. If I do it perfectly, nobody can criticize me. But growth requires criticism. It requires feedback. It requires mistakes.
So perfectionists are protecting their ego, not their growth.
Exactly. And that's why they stay stuck, because you can't grow if you're not willing to be a beginner.
And being a beginner is uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable. But it's also the only way to become an expert.
Okay, I have a question. Why do some people change and others don't, even when they have the same opportunities?
That's the million-dollar question. And I think the answer comes down to one word: momentum.
Momentum?
Momentum is the energy that keeps something moving once it's started. At first, it's hard to push a heavy object, but once it starts rolling, it's easier to keep going. The same is true for change. The beginning is the hardest part, but once you start, it gets easier.
So the goal isn't to change everything at once, it's just to create movement.
Yes, even tiny movement, because a person who moves slowly is still moving, but a person who waits forever is standing still. And standing still is the definition of stuck.
So how do you create momentum?
Step 1. Pick one tiny action. Just one. Something so small you can't say no. Step 2. Do it every day at the same time. Step 3. Celebrate when you do it, even if it's just a mental high five.
A mental high five.
It works because your brain loves rewards. If you associate the action with a positive feeling, you're more likely to repeat it.
Asadullah, I want to go back to something you said earlier, about the stories we tell ourselves. Can you give an example of how to change that?
Absolutely. Let's take learning English, since that's relevant for our listeners. Many learners say, I'm not good at English. That's a fixed statement. It sounds permanent.
And not good feels like a judgment.
Exactly. But what if you change the story to, I'm improving my English every day? That's a process statement. It's not permanent, it's a journey, and when you believe it's a journey, you're more willing to make mistakes.
Because mistakes are just part of the journey.
Yes, and that shift from fixed to growth is one of the most powerful things you can do. It's not about being perfect. It's about being curious.
Curiosity. That's the antidote to fear.
Yes, when you're curious, you ask, what can I learn? Instead of, what if I fail? Same situation, totally different experience.
I think we've covered so much today. Let me try to summarize. People stay stuck because
1. They wait for fear to disappear before they start.
2. They have an identity that doesn't believe in growth.
3. They're waiting for the perfect moment.
4. They don't create momentum because they try to change everything at once.
And 5. They tell themselves fixed stories instead of growth stories.
That's a lot.
It is. But here's the good news. All of these are fixable. You don't need a completely new life. You just need a small shift.
And that's where our next segment comes in.
Yes, the exit strategy. This is where we give you a practical plan to get out of the stuck zone.
Step 1. Name it. Say out loud, I feel stuck in area of life. Just admitting it is powerful.
Step 2. Ask yourself, what's the smallest action I can take today? Not next week, today.
Step 3. Do it. Even if it's just for 2 minutes. Even if it's imperfect. Even if you're not ready.
Step 4. Repeat it tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. Consistency beats intensity.
Step 5. Change your story. Instead of I can't, say I'm learning.
And step 6. Be kind to yourself. You will have bad days. That's normal. The goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is to keep going.
That's beautiful, Asadullah, because so many people give up after one bad day.
I know. And that's why self-compassion is so important. You didn't get stuck in one day. You won't get unstuck in one day. But every small step counts.
Okay, before we finish, let's give our listeners some powerful vocabulary from today. Words they can use to talk about being stuck and getting unstuck.
First word, resistance. The invisible force that stops you from doing what matters. I felt a lot of resistance when I tried to start exercising.
Next, momentum. The energy that keeps you going once you've started. Once I built momentum, studying became easier.
Friction. Anything that makes an action harder. I removed friction by putting my gym clothes next to my bed.
Perfectionism. The belief that something must be perfect before you start. Perfectionism was stopping me from publishing my work.
Identity. Who you believe you are. I changed my identity from procrastinator to doer.
And self-compassion. Being kind to yourself when you struggle. Self-compassion helped me keep going after I made mistakes.
Use these words this week in your writing, in your speaking, in your thoughts. Because language shapes reality.
So, here's our final question for you. Not tomorrow, not next week. Today. What is one tiny action you can take today, right after this episode, to move out of the stuck zone?
Maybe it's opening that book you've been meaning to read. Maybe it's writing one sentence in English. Maybe it's just taking a deep breath and saying, I'm ready to start.
Because starting is the only way.
And you can do it, not because you're perfect, but because you're human, and humans are made to grow.
We'd love to hear your one tiny action in the comments. Share it with us.
And if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because sometimes the best thing you can give someone is the reminder that they're not alone.
As always, keep mastering English and keep moving forward.
Even if it's just one tiny step at a time. Bye for now.
Bye for now.